Welcome to GCW Spotlight on Games, Episode 2. In this episode, we'll be highlighting two games in the same exciting genre, the roguelike. Roguelikes are a style of role-playing game with a focus on gameplay over story and typically feature randomized dungeons filled with hordes of monsters and tons of loot, and ending, ultimately, with either escape from the dungeon or permanent death. Roguelikes can be brutal and challenging for new players, but they have a dedicated fan base, and their unique mechanics have found their way into almost every corner of the gaming world. Despite their popularity on computers, the roguelike genre is terribly underrepresented on handheld consoles. So it's with great pleasure that we present both Powder and Meritus, two great dungeon crawls for the GCW Zero. The first game we're looking at is Powder, a very polished roguelike in the tradition of dungeon crawling classics like Rogue and NetHack. But unlike those classic games, Powder was developed with handheld consoles in mind. It began as a homebrew game for the Game Boy Advance, and has since seen ports to every platform imaginable and enjoys a sizable fan base. It's been in active development by its creator, Jeff Late, for over 10 years, and the depth of the game is staggering. There is a seemingly endless variety of monsters, items, weapons, spells, and skills. The depth is compounded by the class and gods system. You'll shape your character by developing skills and spells in one of several classes: adventurer, fighter, wizard, rogue, necromancer, barbarian, cleric, or cultist. But beware, each class reveres a different deity, and the gods are fickle. They can both reward and punish you as you descend into the dungeon. Controls are simple for a roguelike. Your character is primarily controlled via the D-pad, including moving and attacking. Walking into an item, monster, or obstacle will perform a relevant action, such as attacking, opening doors, picking things up, and so on. The A button is used for ranged attacks, and the B button is used for spells. Y calls up the inventory, and X accesses a list of available actions. Nominally, the goal in Powder is to descend through the 25-level dungeon, kill the demon Basilbub, and return to the surface with his black heart. This is easier said than done, though, and realistically, your goal will be delving a little bit deeper and killing a few more monsters than you did last time. It's a strangely addictive formula, and we think it's a great fit for the Zero. We're pleased to have the author's blessing to include it pre-installed on every Zero that ships. Our port of the game to OpenDingix was completed by our talented GCW coder Zir, who also brings us our next game, Meritus. Meritus is a very different game from Powder. It's an action-adventure dungeon crawler with a science fiction theme. You control Merit, a Psi user who ventures into Orcus Dome, the game's vast dungeon, to correct problems in the Psi flow. Your only weapon against the shadow creatures that live there is the charging and releasing of a circular wave of Psi, a sort of energy bomb. As you progress outward into the dome, you can level up your powers, as well as discover artifacts that will help you in your quest. The version of Meritus you see here is a work in progress, so you won't be able to hear the terrific soundtrack in this video, but the port is otherwise complete. Controls are very simple. Movement is handled with either the D-pad or the analog nub, and the A button charges and releases your Psi. The L button calls up the ever-useful minimap. Meritus is a great cross between a dungeon-crawling roguelike, a bullet hell shooter, and an action arcade game. Its tight, simple controls and pick-up-and-play structure makes it a perfect game for the Zero. We expect to make it available on the GCW Zero app repository at the launch of the console. Thanks again for joining us for the second episode of GCW Spotlight on Games. For more information about the games featured in this video, see our Kickstarter page or visit us on the web. Thanks again for your support.